Since I worked on many projects at MTV, I thought I'd take that as a case study of the evolution of web, because they went through kind of the same things, and they were there at, with one of the first websites in '93. There were about 623 other websites to this study. And it had a splash page, which was unusual because it would take a while to load this whole page, and then you would click and you would get to this page and nothing would be there because you would have to load those pictures yet again. Of course, we were only using the system fonts at the time. We could align them left or right and had a background and things are very basic. But when you finally got to it, you had this page, you could click on something, and inside, later on, just like maybe a year later, we had these frames where you could put all the navigation on one side and then the content and the logo, so that if you go to the next page, you didn't have to reload the logo again or update the nav for every of those hundreds of pages. That was sort of the new thing in '96. And this is what the website looked like when we designed it then. We were inspired by sort of this Japanese Ghost in the Shell, came just out in that year, the movie. We loved Gundam manga, Designers Republic kind of aesthetics, and these kind of modern steampipe, bright colors, techno, RGB kind of look. MTV had their own web search. I designed the banners for them back in the day. It was like after AliWeb, one of the very first searches. There was Yahoo was out, but Google didn't even exist yet. And a little later, this is already like 10 years later, DVDs were a big thing at the time, and they had little microsites inside them that actually, if your TV was connected to the internet, you could update those pages. And they were doing mostly reality TV shows, and The Hills was a very big show back then to work on. And the design of the web page at that time was mostly, it was called a container-based, sort of like this inside structure there of 1,200 pixels about, that would stay static, and then left and right it would automatically stretch to whatever browser size you would stretch your browser. Not many people had big monitors at the time, so they would mostly just see that container, and that's what we kind of based our design on. It was easy because you could tell advertisers how they had to prepare the sizes of their ads, like running Google ads at this time already was like the thing. And this works well if you have a desktop, but with the iPhone, only like that was after 2007 or so, and iPads and all these different viewports, it was very difficult to fit that container into all these different widths. And so the container here was designed in the middle, and around that we had hats that would reload with a different hat every time you come to the site. It was kind of cool because you could give artists really nice canvas to design these hats for a while. This was still built on a container. It's not even that long ago. It was what they did to generate revenue was to syndicate with products, like you could see here, like a hair product. This would be an example of them taking over the whole site, and they could brand it in their colors and be the main sponsor of this band contest, for example here. What generated more money was the country music channel, much more than other than maybe rap, but MTV itself, even though that's like the popular brand, it wasn't the cash that came in. And then with the iPhone, you had to anticipate all these different viewports. You couldn't have one fixed container in the middle, but it had to be stretched to any kind of width of a screen size. So this is the modern way to do it. This one still has a lot of margins around, as you can see, but it's full width. It stretches the entire width of the screen. Like here, they even took out the navigation that you usually see on the top. Like here, it just became one burger icon, which we know as like the younger generation signifies that the menu, but it's a convention that had to be established over the years that wasn't there before. But it's full screen, and it uses cards to organize the different shows, which lead you to the other pages. And it's responsive because a lot of people access it through the web, through the mobile, I mean. And it is connected to social media to share the content. This site uses a simple system font Helvetica, but it's also using these lowercase headers, which makes the tone much more friendly, approachable, instead of an uppercase screaming kind of marketing talk. It's also on the lower end of the pictures, another to make it more friendly design-wise. And their shows are all reality TVs. They do have some news, but mostly like younger generation kind of news, music news maybe. But where are all the ads now? There are no more Google ads, so they're all generated from actually running the videos inside. So their revenue comes from being selling the advertisement inside the clips and inside the show. So the return on investment that they have to think of it some way, because they have to hire the designers at that point too. But that's where they are right now. Probably changed by the time I made this video, but just generally kind of an evolution of the web from 96 to 2020.